Hello, my name is Task. I am a advanced/invite spy. This is going to be a map review for Koth_product_final. This is being made right around the preseason of Season 19 RGL and NA League. And let's get this started. Rollout on product is pretty simple. Most of the time, you're going to be heading out through man. And from here, it really diverges into three spots they can go through. Um, Either you can go across Dogbread to get the pack, and it's a cross. And then here you can also have three, like it's like a fork. You can come up the rock, come up this cliff. You can go towards back of valley, towards behind house, or you can go inside of house to see if you can catch a pick on China, or you can go directly behind rock to try and catch a pick, a really quick one. Or you can jump over the enemies, get towards main, or you can even like get inside of house and then decloak and then walk out as they rotate left side. That's towards Dogbread. And then if you take the walk up behind house into house. But if you go through main, you just go straight across. You can go towards boxes. You can go across boxes, jump over anyone who tries to pass over under you, get over towards Japan, and then you can either commit from Japan or you can drop down towards main to block anyone off, or you can jump across from Japan over towards Porch, and you can cut someone off from here from Valley, or you can even rotate from Japan over towards flank if there's a call to do so. And then if you it is the riskiest option, but also the one that might give you the most reward is instead of going through boxes, you can go straight through connector. Uh, Through connector is the riskiest one because it's such a small area, and because soldier and heavy usually are the ones positioned here. So if the enemy soldier just lands one rocket inside of the tunnel, inside of this, then you'll easily be caught out. Or if the heavy just shoots a few bullets, you're gonna get caught out. Um, so you want to make sure that either you know where the soldier is, or you know when they're going to fire. That's when you would want to go across, because if not, then it would probably be best just to go from boxes towards flank, and then to just decloak aggressive, and then to just kill them instead of going straight to connector. But if time is of the essence and you need like every millisecond, then you can go through connector. Then connector is a fine space to go. Or if this is after the mid is won or lost or whatever, you can go through connector to get behind the enemy faster and safer than other spots. The watches you'll be running for this map, is mostly usually you'll be running Inviswatch with Cloak and Dagger and Deadwinger being niche options. Um, this map is not like Asheville in the sense that, it's if your team is playing aggressive, then you should run Deadwinger, and if your team is playing passive, then you should run Cloak and Dagger. It is more like if your team is not able to commit a lot of the time and they rely on the sniper call, because this is a sniper dominant map, as are a ton of other maps in this game. Then you would likely want to run Cloak and Dagger if your team is really reliant on sniper calls. Or you could run Latranger I don't typically run Latringer in this map due to the fact that there are like suitable spots for ammo packs, like behind base cliff, like on base cliff or towards grass, or behind house or inside of house, like the NG's teleporter, or at their spawn for the NG's entrance. Or on Dogbread. Of course, that's the one that's the most risky because it's on Dogbread. So I believe it really depends on if you as well cannot get in, then that would be the best time to go Deadringer or to go Cloak and Dagger. For Deadringer, it's well, Gunspy is fairly okay on this map, but it definitely you don't need to go Deadringer to play Gunspy, simply because of the fact that Inviswatch honestly does the role just as well. Because most of the time, the reason you go Deadringer on Astral is because of the fact that so that you can leave once you're like if you're caught in. But on this map, there's not really anywhere to leave to because staying on your side of the map and only trying to shoot whoever's in front of you is not really an option. So it's best to just go on Cloak to go Inviswatch and then to just use your revolver more often than you normally would. But if you would like to use Deadringer, then I would say the way that I use it is I use it as a more distraction tool. Like I would use it to get behind and then I would play passive. I would try and shoot across and then I would get behind by popping my Deadringer and then I would call for aggression from my team. Or I would just play for my own team's aggression. And then from there I would support from Cliff or China. And then once I get my Deadringer back, then I'll be able to call a more aggressive play where I would be able to commit. Let's say for a sack on their medic, or a bomb on their sniper, or an aggressive play on their flank. But basically, you would want to time your aggressions with your Deadringer recharge time. Of course, if you do this and the enemy notices it, then they can play around your aggression and they can play around your timings between your Deadringer. But that just comes to them having to understand what you're doing, and if they can understand it, then you probably have more problems than just them knowing when you're gonna be in. But you should try and change your targets. That's not just a watch thing, that's a general thing, especially on this map, because even though sniper is a very, very important pick on this map, being able to kill the flank and support all areas of your team is also really important, because without one group winning, the other group finds it harder to win. So if your flank were to be losing and they would be constantly losing concrete, then your combo would be having a lot of trouble trying to get on point, trying to fight the enemy combo, because then they also have to deal with the enemy flank. So make sure that as a spy you're able to support all of your players, and you're able to support your flank, your combo, and your sniper. As I said before, this is a sniper heavy map, so it is a map that you would want to kill the sniper a ton, but you don't really need to kill him per se. It's more so you need to pressure him. And a thing that a lot of spies don't really understand is that, or a lot of newer spies, even some intermediate spies, is that you can pressure snipers just by shooting at them, because the revolver is actually a very versatile, is actually very good, even at medium ranges. So from Cliff, I would still be doing around 30 to 20 damage. And because the sniper is scoped in, if I can land 4 shots, then that easily leads to either 90 damage or it could lead to 80 damage. And that amount of damage on a sniper is it's not something you can ignore, because I mean, one, you're gonna know you're getting shot because you're probably gonna get like aim punched, and two, you're gonna see your health dropping. And so what's likely to happen is like after the third shot, they're gonna start trying to leave. And if you time that with your sniper peeking the enemy sniper, then that can really make a window where your sniper can almost always win the SVS just by waiting on you to start shooting the sniper to try and get a pick. And even if he only hits him for 150, you can finish him off easily by shooting him once or more, once or twice. So either timing that with your sniper or timing it with your team as they push to get the sniper's aim punch is a really good strategy that some players don't always take into account, and some people don't even like try to do. Um, but yeah, and then also Cliff in general is just a really nice spot for spies to live in, because not only do you have a pack, medium health and medium ammo on base Cliff, but you also have a few ways to go. You can either go behind, either go towards China or towards Korea into Japan, or you can go inside of house, or you can drop down onto porch, or you can commit towards main by jumping off of cliff, or you can rotate over to where your team is towards Dogbread, towards your own side if you're on red. Um, so it's very, or you can go into their spawn by going back onto cliff. So it's a very versatile position, and you can do a lot with it because just you being here distracts the enemy. But of course, it's not some place where you should be staying for like a long time, for long periods of time. Unless, of course, you're dealing a ton of damage and your team is able to walk on that damage. But if you're not, and you're just kind of sitting here dealing like 60 damage to each person, but your team is still losing, then you should reconsider your positioning. Like, let's say instead of staying on cliff, you should rotate over towards main and call aggression from your team so that you're able to commit on, say, their demo. And then you're able to just pick him as he tries to back up. Or you can go towards flank and try and get a pick on their soldier and heavy or their NG to see if your flank can do anything. It really depends on the situation. But yeah. So if you're going to run Cloak and Dagger, it's fairly simple. It's basically you just you can do the same thing as before. You can just sit on a cliff and you can call what's happening, and then you can shoot whenever whenever players are at low health, or you can commit as well. If you're going to commit with Cloak and Dagger, then you really need to either be able to get the pick or at least be able to survive if you fail the pick. So if there's a 30 health medic, or your team is aggressing on their medic and their medic's trying to leave towards Valley, and you want to commit, then you can commit, sure, because your team is fighting. And then even if you miss the pick, you can still run away towards your team as they're trying to walk back onto point. But let's say like no one is committing onto their medic as their med leaves through Valley, you probably shouldn't be committing. Or you can at least shoot at him and you can try and take him low enough where like some random body shot can kill him. But you probably shouldn't commit onto him and decloak and try and stab him and such. But yeah. You should try your best to minimize the amount of fall damage you take, considering this is like a map with a few vertical places. There are a few spots to use to try and minimize the amount of fall damage. So if you're on China and you get over, if you're over here by Korea and you want to get towards main, you can drop down and you can strafe into the house to reach like this wood panel. It's around here where you start to get fall damage. Like after I would say this corner you start to get fall damage, but before the corner you can like you don't. So you should strafe inwards to not receive fall damage and then you can commit. Because even though some players might not hear it, some players might, and it's always better to be safe than sorry. For base cliff, same thing. Um, Actually, it's far more generous in the places that you can and can't go. Mostly because if you just fall onto porch, you won't receive any damage. So I'd say like around after around here. So you should just always fall onto porch or fall into base cliff if you're gonna leave from cliff. Um, but yeah. What are other spots? There's not really anything else. Invis watch, I mean, play it how you usually would. Play for calling, rotate between the 3 packs, which is base cliff and grass, and then getting the telly. On Koth, a level 3 telly is actually really good. So getting it as soon as it turns level 3 would be the best decision. Because then the NG would have already placed all of his metal onto it, and he would need to you would need to rebuild all of it again. But you can also get it during downtime. So let's say like either your entire team wiped or you wiped their entire team, then that would be a good time to get the telly. Just because you really have nothing else to do, and the metal can give you more cloak time. So yeah. For decloak spots, the main ones are pretty obvious, like this one at main, or this one outside of valley, the inside of house one, the above over cliff. Like if the sniper is holding pocket, then you can decloak above cliff, or you can decloak on sheet metal, and then you can just drop down. You can also decloak on China. China is actually a very good spot, mostly because it's very, like, I mean, obviously it's vertical, but also because anyone around this corner can't see you. You can just kind of drop down and stab them as they're like either sitting behind or trying to like avoid spam. Another spot that's good if you're running Cloak and Dagger is this window spot. And the reason it's good for Cloak and Dagger is because usually pyros will look around you. They'll look around you under this window spot, but they won't look for the window spot. So they'll actually miss their flames. Although I can't say the same for flame particles because flame particles are dumb. But hopefully, you won't be caught out, and then this is actually a really good spot. Or if you're on Invis Watch and you want to do a little cheeky play, then that's also a good spot. The Creative Japan jump. And then also from these boxes onto Seagull. It's a jump that you probably won't be using often, but if you know how to do it, it can actually open up a few possibilities. So let's say their heavy is very spy aware, and if you decloak around him, he'll turn around. If you can decloak above him, he'll turn around and then he'll turn forward. And so you can wait for him to turn forward and then you can just stab him. Yeah, and again, sniper is a very important class on this map, so you should be calling him as soon as you see him or trying to find him constantly, and ensuring your sniper knows where he's going or your team knows where he's going. On the mids, it is also best to call where the sniper is, because you're usually going to be the one who's furthest forward because you're going to be the one crossing mid. So when you walk out of main or you walk out of valley, you should be trying to find the sniper either on cliff or towards concrete or towards valley, pocket, main, you know, spots like that. And then depending on what your team would like to do, either commit immediately or wait a few seconds and commit. Yeah. Spawn camping on this map is pretty easy. Usually spies stay on the left side because most people look to their right. Although the left side on this map has a, or well, on red side, left side, the left side of the spawn has a window, so you probably should like hide around here and then stab them. But of course, usually people walk out like this, so you can sit on the right side of blue spawn and get them there. But this corner, instead of like both spawns and both side spawns, then it's actually very useful because if the telly's like a little further out, then you can wait for someone to come through and you can just stab them on the telly. If the enemy team is holding forwards, then your best possible bet is to go towards either cliff or grass, because being able to fight against, I mean, you can't really go through main because usually the combo's the one holding main. Of course, you can try it and see what happens because, I mean, every spot is a choke point, honestly, so you just kind of have to try your luck. But once you're behind, the 3 picks that like would help your team break the forward hold the most is their sniper, their demo, or their medic. All 3 of those classes are kind of essential to the forward hold, so killing any of one of them is a really good pick. Or killing, let's say, an area, like let's say like usually your demo or your soldier and spy would be holding towards cliff. So if you left out cliff, that's the forward hold. Like the forward hold is the soldier and spy holding cliff. So if you were to leave out cliff and you wanted to break their cliff side hold, you could decloak behind the soldier and then kill him, and then the spy would be by himself. And so that would create an opening for your team to be able to get across, to be able to get through cliff, and to be able to pressure the enemy towards grass. Or you can get the sniper towards, you know, you can get like the heavy towards grass and then create an opening for your team. Let's say like their heavy is sitting right behind these rocks, you can decloak right under him. Even though it's like really aggressive, if the team isn't fast enough or the heavy is slow enough, you can get the pick and create a massive like domino effect where you get the heavy and then everyone else commits, and then it's just like, it's chaos. But if you are getting forward held, then you should focus on their demo, their sniper, or their medic. If you are the one forward holding, then your team should be the ones to tell you how to forward hold. But typically it's demo is sitting outside of man with their heavy and their medic, or with their pyro and their medic. Heavy and sniper are sitting on grass. Soldier and spy are sitting on cliff, and then scout and NG are walking around ensuring that the spy is nowhere near them, or the scout is taking their medic into fights or taking their medic out of fights. So if you're forward holding, you're gonna be looking towards cliff, and you can either commit inside of spawn to call where the enemy is going, or you can leave and just play comms to see like, oh, if their combo is hanging up cliff, oh, their combo is hanging up cliff, and then you can call your demo over your combo over, and you can like fight them as they walk up cliff. Outside of that, I would say the few things you would want to watch out for is if you're going to be sitting on China or cliff, people are going to probably jump you because they think that you're not able to protect yourself. But If you know how to use a revolver and you know how to aim, then you can very easily kill anyone if they try and jump you. If you're holding on China and a scout tries to jump you, you can literally just shoot once and he automatically goes to the ground. So just hit him 3 times and then he's fucking dead. It's very satisfying. And same thing goes for any detonator pyros who try and be a little funny and try and dead jump over to China. Of course, can't say the same for bombing soldiers, but if a soldier's bombing you on cliff, then I guess you've kind of won. Um, that's one thing. Another thing is that NGs, or at least NGs should be sitting on their sniper. So a thing you can do is you can call for a soldier bomb onto the enemy sniper, so that you're able to more easily get a pick on their sniper. Or you can decloak right beside him and then just gun him down by using 3 shots. Of course, it really depends on your confidence in your aim and what the situation calls for. But yeah, typically you just want to kill their sniper as quickly as possible, as smoothly as possible, hopefully. And yeah. The knives to run on this map, I typically run Spy Circle because I like using my knife, or I like using my revolver, and running Spy Circle gives me the freedom to be able to be aggressive and then also use my revolver, and then also use my knife if I need it. But you can also run stock knife, or you can run big earner on this map as well. Kunai less so. Kunai is decent on this map if you're able to get, if you're fighting for team fights. So if you're trying to only commit when your team is fighting, running kunai actually is not that bad an idea, because the health that it gives you can actually save you and can make it so that you're probably the one that's the most difficult to kill out of anyone that's fighting at the time. So you can try it out and see if it works for you and your team, but it really depends on what your team plays like and what you play like. If you're confident enough to survive with only 70 HP, you know, it just ton of factors. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you for coming out, and have a good one.